Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Feel Good Fridays. Coming live straight at you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, it's your hosts, Polly and Bagz.
Thanks for joining this edition of Feel Good Fridays. I'm Polly.
I'm Bagz.
And today, folks, we have a special guest, and that gentleman sitting beside me, his name is Paul Buki. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Paul, tell our audience kind of a little bit about you, a little bit about your background and how long you've been in leadership.
Okay. So the amount of time I've been in leadership, I'm 42 years old now, so I started in leadership when I was 19 in the U.S. Army.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And thank you to all those that served out there as well.
Okay. Yeah, and then currently working for a large company now and had 6 different leadership roles since I've been with them as well.
Oh, wow. So about how many years do you think altogether?
So from 19 to 42.
23!
We got to send them back to kindergarten math.
Yeah, 23 years. That's impressive. Well, we appreciate you being here today. So, Bagz, what are we going to get into today?
It's one of my all-time favorite subjects, gentlemen. It is why you should and why you shouldn't get into leadership. So, Paul, so the Buchanator, what are reasons why people should get into leadership? What are some things that made you inspired to get into leadership for those 23 years and not to say, screw this, or I'll just work on my own little island? Why should you get into leadership, man?
I think, leadership does a lot more for you than it does in many cases, I guess, for other people. The goal of getting into leadership is you have to have a servant's heart, right? So you want to be able to help people advance their lives, and it also helps you as a person because the growth model, I think, being a leader, you grow faster as a person and you develop skills that you necessarily would not have. And many of those translate to your family life too, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And a lot of things that, I've done as a leader, I've actually learned from those that I'm leading as well. So I've learned many things over my experience as a leader. And when you talk about caring for other people, one of the greatest feelings as a leader is to really make a positive impact in someone's life. I always go back to my days as a sales leader and taking someone who's 100% commission and they're falling behind on their car payments, their house payments, their rent, their utilities, and then working with them and coaching them and teaching them your ways and your knowledge to the point where now they've almost got that car paid off and they're financially free. I mean, just to change someone's life for the better financially is the reason why I do what I do.
Yeah, I'd even say with you get into leadership too, challenging yourself, because let's all face it, at the end of the day, you're no longer just responsible for you. You're responsible for the people that report to you, right? Or, responsible for. So you want to talk about a challenge, man, just, organization, discipline, helping others, overcoming tough situations, maybe inside or outside the 4 walls of the office is key. And I'd even say, too, you want to even challenge yourself as a leader, try coaching a 6-year-old baseball team. That is fun, man, because you want to talk about being a leader, you got to help them and lead them down the right path and teach them the skills. It's just no different than when you're helping those that are 4 or 5 times that age of a 6-year-old, trying to make the difference like you mentioned, Paul, as well. So.
No, you're spot on with this sports, man. I got a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, and yeah, it's you definitely have to explain it in a way that they understand versus the way that you understand. So
exactly,
good stuff.
And it's interesting you bring up, learning from others. So being reverse mentored by people you're trying to help, you do learn the most out of that. And your goal as a leader, with that servant's heart, is to make sure you remove roadblocks for them as well.
No, spot on.
Yeah, I'd even say too, just being humble enough to say you don't always have the answer.
Exactly.
When you're in leadership, they're just normalizing it, not pretending like you're the almighty and you know everything, but put forth the effort to try and help find that answer. So I don't know, go figure it out yourself. Try to put some feelers out there and be that leader and help, learn yourself. And that's the cool thing about leadership. You always learn. So.
It's okay to say I don't know.
Yeah,
that is for sure. So look, we talked about all the reasons why to get into leadership. So Paul, why don't we talk about some reasons why we should not get into leadership?
I would say first thing is a lot of people chase the titles, right? So I will tell you titles are BS. It means nothing, right? If you work in a great organization, everybody should have a voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't chase that because you're going to be highly disappointed almost immediately.
Yeah.
I would say like the money thing, right? Like your goal is to help people get to generational wealth, not just build it for yourself. Again, always reflecting back to that servant's heart.
Mhm.
So, you know, it's not a way out. It doesn't get easier. You know, there's some mornings I wake up like, why did I not go into landscaping, right? It would have been a little easier. But I mean, it is very rewarding. Just make sure you go and do it and realize it's gonna take a lot more sacrifice than just showing up for it.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think another one too is just, getting to that next level, just to be the boss, right? To boss people around, tell them what to do. That is not what leadership is by any stretch of the imagination. So if that's something that you're thinking about, like, I really want to tell people what to do all day, every day, then that is not a good reason to get into leadership.
Yeah, I'd even say too, if you're bored in your current role, or you're like, I've reached my peak as whatever I am, the next logical step is to get into leadership. Doesn't mean you're going to become a good leader, or that is the next right step for you. I mean, you can look at sports. The best players in the world are probably not the best coaches and leaders, in that specific role. Maybe they're a leader on the field with their peers, but when you're responsible for the wins and the L's, the P and the L, it's a different ball game, and you got to have the right mentality of why we're going into it.
Nope, spot on there. And look, team, that's a wrap for us on today's episode. Let us know in the comments what you think, why you should get into leadership or why you should not get into leadership. We'd love to hear from you. As always, if you missed any of our previous pods, check us out on YouTube at Paulie and Bagz or Feel Good Fridays podcast. If you want to listen to us on the go, iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you grab your pods. So without further ado, take care.
And I need to get my hair cut.
Thank you for tuning in to Feel Good Fridays. If you want to stay up to date with our podcast releases and upcoming material, please like and subscribe our YouTube channel. I'll wait. You didn't do it yet. Go ahead. I'm still waiting. Did you do it? Definitely check us out on our TikTok for special announcements and possible giveaways. Both can be found by searching at Feel Good Fridays Podcast. Thank you, and make it a great day.